if my mom who gave birth to me is a woman and my wife is a woman, though I haven't asked her, maybe I should. But if they're all women, and also the boy who sits down with you and says, I think I'm a girl, actually is one, then what is a woman?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
All right, welcome back to Real Talk Corners in the building. Got my co-host here, Bella. I was about to say Sabrina.
Bella, Sabrina,
Today she's Bella.
Right.
Why? Because we always got some shit to say. That's why we're back. And we're gonna watch some shit. This next one we're going to jump into is What is a Woman by Matt Walsh. And even though he's a conservative guy, and of course I don't agree with everything that conservatives say, but I love a lot of points that he does in this particular documentary that he does. And the topic, of course, it goes into what is a woman, transgender, and things like that. So we're gonna react to this. I will probably do a couple parts of it because it's so long. For the viewers at home, anyway, because we're gonna stop and talk about it. And I think it brings up just a lot of things that's going on today. And we're gonna talk about it. Why? Because we always got something to say.
Right. Basically.
At this point, you should know what it is.
I actually didn't get a chance to see it, so this will be first time for me.
Being a dad is one of the great privileges of my life. Give my son a BB gun, and that's just about all the emotional support he needs. My daughter, on the other hand, I've heard people say that there are no differences between male and female. Those people are idiots. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. I host a talk show. I give speeches. I write books. I like to make sense of things. But making sense of females is a whole other matter. Even astrophysicist Stephen Hawking, who could come up with a theory on black holes, was completely dumbfounded by women.
Women. They are a complete mystery.
And now our culture is telling us that the differences between girls and boys don't matter. That if you identify as something, then you are that thing. How do we help our kids make sense of this when they're bombarded with conflicting messages about gender and identity? Forget trying to figure out women. The real question is, what is a woman?
As you grow, your body changes from that of a young girl to that of a woman. Soon, Molly will be a young woman, having dates, going to dances in lovely romantic dresses.
The boy's shoulders are broad and his body muscular, while the girl's body is more curved.
I'd like to know more about different kinds of hormones.
The presence of these hormones in the blood brings about many changes in the bodies of both boys and girls.
Being a woman is one of the things I like the best about myself. I think you'll like it too.
I like to come out here to think. Nature seems to always tell the truth, even when we don't want to hear it. Truth is, I'm not very good at fishing. But what is truth? Is there a truth? Is this what progress looks like? Can my boys really become girls? Do I have 4 daughters? Do I now have to pay for 4 weddings? Is there a son trapped in my daughter's body? If so, how do I get him out? Are any of my kids who they claim to be? Who are these people? Who am I? I better see a therapist.
In the state of Tennessee, I'm a licensed marital and family therapist, which basically means I've been trained up to think about like systems, family systems, how we were raised up, how that shapes who we are today.
So on your website, if you'll bear with me,
Sure.
quoting, you say, I use a combination of approaches in my therapeutic work, including anti-oppression, feminist, and narrative frameworks. I rely deeply on systems theory and understanding that individuals are products of and in dialogue with our surroundings, including our families, broader culture, workplaces, nature, and political climates. What does that mean?
Yeah. So thinking about the modalities that I use, I'm definitely informed by like feminist family therapy, and the idea is that we live in gendered worlds where there are certain imperatives that are placed on us about who we are and what we do based on how we've been gendered. From the minute I was assigned female, I was told, okay, these are the kind of clothing that you're going to wear. These are the kind of the type of play that you're going to engage in as a child, the path that maybe your life will take because of social expectations.
What do you mean by assigned female? Who assigns female?
Yeah, so most times people when they're born, they're assigned a gender
By the doctors.
Yeah.
Like, what do they base that assignment on?
So basically, it's based on genitalia. So people looking at genitalia and deciding, okay, this is a girl or a boy. And we know now that that sex and gender are so much more than just this binary. Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas. That's not how gender works.
How do we know that? How do we know that that's not true? Where do we learn that from?
Yeah, well, I learned that from hearing from transgender people who've said like, oh, I'm a trans woman, and just because I happen to have a penis, right, that doesn't mean that this is like who I am as a person, or that genitalia doesn't equal gender. Who they are, their gender expression. That yeah, a trans woman is a woman.
With the fluidity of these things, how do I know if I'm a woman? You know,
That's a great question.
I like scented candles, and
Yeah.
I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I know?
Yeah, Matt, that question right there, like that question is like, when it's asked with a lot of curiosity, right? That's the beginning of a lot of people's like gender identity development journeys.
If my mom who gave birth to me is a woman, and my wife is a woman, though I haven't asked her, maybe I should. But if they're all women, and also the boy who sits down with you and says, I think I'm a girl, actually is one, then what is a woman?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
To me about this is that this is a therapist that someone goes to, that they go to get help, and you don't even know how to answer a simple question of what is a woman, and you've learned what you think you know to be true based on what other people have told you. It's backed with any facts or figures or science or anything. It's just, well, these are the stories that they're told me, so they have to be right. And I think as adults, we all can agree that no one, well, I won't say no one. There's a lot of people who care, but most of us don't care. You as an adult, what you want to do with your body, just like women who want bigger ass, go get cosmetic surgery. You know, if the women who want bigger, there's dudes that get penile surgeries and stuff like that. I think what it comes down to is the kids, the now you can go to a therapist and, oh, you think you're a girl, well, I guess you're a girl. Or you think you're a boy, oh, I guess you're a boy. And just that part to me is questioning, like, you can't change biology. Like, that part is set in stone from what we know. I mean, you can get all the surgery you want to, but that doesn't change, your DNA. So to skip that part and just make it like, That doesn't matter. Just because you got a penis doesn't make you a boy. And just because you got
Right.
a vagina doesn't make you a girl. Actually, yes, it does. Now,
Right. I was just about to say that when I was watching it. I'm like, because I'm like, huh? Like she just dismissed the whole fact. Like, what?
it's like, wait a minute. And the way that they say that, and I've heard multiple people say it like she does when we were assigned at birth, and it was like, I don't remember that we weren't being assigned anything. You had a vagina, you're a girl. You had a penis, you're a
Mhm.
boy. Because there had to be a distinction between the two. Like that's how we knew males from females. Everything about the biology, what they were saying, the makeup, the body structure, the bone structure.
Mhm.
Women's pelvis are wider for a reason to
The
carry
fact that
children.
females have a uterus, cervix, and men don't.
Right.
Like, I mean,
There's only a handful of what they would call intersex people who
mhm.
actually have multiple organs, but even them have a primary organ. They're not going to
Mhm.
have semen and fucking ovaries or eggs. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're not going to have both. There's going to be one that's more viable than the other, even in
Exactly.
the intersex, even in them. So it's just crazy to me that you got a lot of people like this that are out there in these professional seats that are supposed to be helping you get through your confusion, your states. And it's just like, oh, you said this? Oh, yeah, that's what you are.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's
it's
why I said
like,
like dismissing the reality. Like, how
right.
do you just take that out of the whole? Like, just like it's not even there. Like, it doesn't even matter.
No. It's like, no, you still have male parts, you still have women parts. Now, when you get older and you don't like that and you want to change that, hey, by all means, do what you do. But to stop children from learning about their biology at a young age and just be like, yeah, whatever you say. Because I'm like, kids think they believe in Santa Claus, they
I
believe in
was
the
just
tooth
about to say.
fairy.
No, that's like us saying, okay, that's like prime example. A kid saying, "Oh, I want to be a donkey," and
Right,
start acting like a
right,
donkey or acting like some kind of animal and just start living as an animal. Are you
right,
going to just allow your kid to act like an animal, eating like an animal? You're
right.
not. You're
I mean, you
not.
remember doing that shit when you were little, right? Riding around like you a fucking horse or getting on all fours, meowing and shit because you're
Exactly.
playing.
Right. So now if you say, and like you said, we were playing, that was temporary. Our
Right,
parents knew they were pretending. But if we was to say, well, I am a cat,
right,
and you go walking around in the middle of the night on all fours and you meowing and you eating tuna, is everybody going to be okay and say, you know what? She identifies as a cat. You need
right.
to address her as a cat because that is what she is.
That's what they're pushing for these days. That's what they're pushing for these days to say whatever you feel like you are, it must be true. And it's like, is anyone looking at mental health? Because is anybody looking at
Exactly.
mental health?
Exactly.
Because regardless to what you feel on the inside, you still have to deal with and work through why you don't like who you are. You were born in these bodies for a reason. So even if you really do feel like you're gay, because I feel like unfortunately a lot of this transgender shit is from people who are ashamed to be gay. So you have to be a woman. You know what I mean? Or you have to be a
Mm-hmm.
man. And there's nothing wrong with being gay. The gay people fought for your fucking rights.
Exactly.
Like they were murdered and killed to fucking stand with the civil rights to get you rights to be able to marry each other and all this. So I'm like, how in 2023 that we still have all of this being ashamed to be gay, being ashamed to be these things. So we would rather go and have this crazy surgeries, which we'll see more in here, these crazy mutilating surgeries just so you can pretend to be something that
I was just
your
about to say.
biology doesn't
Mm-hmm.
match up.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm like, where's the mental health? That's what I'm like, where's the fucking mental health with these people?
I thought therapy would make me less confused.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one feeling this way? I need to hit the road and find out. We're talking about gender in society. Let me start with a real basic question. What is a woman? want to assume, well, you guys are all women.
Yes, for women.
So how would you define it, like in the simplest terms?
That is hard.
Yeah, it is. It is a stumper.
A woman is someone that likes to be pretty and think of themselves as a delicate creature.
I'm pretty indelicate.
Okay.
I was just about
I
to
could be a
say,
woman too.
there's
Yes,
some
you
men who
Defining womanhood is just a project of someone who identifies as a woman.
Yeah, but what do they identify? That's what I'm saying. What do they identify as? They identify as a woman, but what is that?
I honestly don't know.
It's a simple question. So why is it so hard to answer?
For real.
This is going to take some serious investigation. For all of human existence, women were understood to be a certain thing. So what changed? No one can seem to answer the question now. Over 2,000 surgeries and counting, Dr. Marcy Bowers is the nation's preeminent sex change surgeon. Surely someone who does sex change surgeries can answer what a woman is. Dr. Marcy Bowers, first of all, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.
So you're a world-renowned gynecologist and surgeon. You're also a transgender woman. Can you tell me a little bit about...
Well, I mean, I identify as a woman, but...
You're a woman, right?
I'm a woman with, I mean, that's my life, day to day, but I have a transgender history.
So one thing on your website, it says GAV, gender-affirming vaginoplasty. What is that exactly?
A vaginoplasty is creation of female, a female vagina and vulva. We're altering the physical characteristics of the individual to fit better with a gender identity that is female.
This is all constructed from the penis?
Yes, that's right. The surgeries are quite refined in the sense that they really, not only do they look like female anatomy, but they also function that way for the most part. I mean, certainly it's a bit of a Faustian bargain. You know, it's not perfect.
Does anyone ever regret their surgeries? Or, well, we know they do, but how often do people regret their surgeries?
Well, actually, we don't know that they do. There are legitimate detransitioners, and there are people who truly feel that in their journey, they may have made a mistake. Now, fortunately, this is a really, really uncommon phenomenon.
I don't know if you've ever heard of people in the trans-abled community. These are people who are physically able-bodied, but feel like they should be disabled or identify as such. For example, a man who has 2 arms, but feels like he should have 1. If a man in this kind of marginalized community went to the doctor and said, I want to have my arm cut off, do you think that
doesn't have anything to do with gender identity?
Well, it's someone's self-identity, how someone identifies.
That's someone who has and I'll accept it as a mental diagnosis, a psychiatric condition. I don't even pretend to know what aptomenophilia is all about, but somehow it's the idea that you're fascinated or charmed by having a limb or part of a limb missing. Okay, I would say that's, pardon my non-medical language, kooky.
You don't see any? You think this is totally irrelevant?
Yep.
So the biggest, broadest question is, what is a woman?
A woman is it's a combination of your physical attributes and then what you're showing to the world and the gender clues that you give. And hopefully those match your gender identity.
The critics on the other side of this, of this issue.
There aren't many, but go ahead.
There aren't many who would disagree with what you're saying about.
Well, the dinosaurs of the world are certainly out there. Yeah.
This is a doctor that not only transgender themselves, so they've gone through their transition, and doesn't see the correlation of like, you still have to deal with the mental issues of doing that, you know. And the crazy part about people not being able to say what is a woman, where did we lose? You know how we're always talking about women's rights and stuff, right? When did we lose what the fuck we are?
Right. I don't know how that is so difficult. And like, even with what she said, right? She's like, oh, the way you look, the way you act, the way the people see you.
Right.
What about the women who don't dress in dresses, who
Right.
don't maybe like scented candles, who don't, you know what I mean? They're
Right.
still a woman and can be
Right.
a straight woman, don't even have to be any kind of, gay or anything, but
Right.
chooses to dress comfortable and not wear. So that, to me, her whole theory on the how you look and how you that don't have
Right.
that doesn't make you a woman. I don't know how
Right.
someone can say, oh, the way a person dresses or how the world sees them makes
Right.
them a woman. That's not true, because if I dressed in sneakers and sweatpants and had a little haircut and this, that, and the third, the world is gonna see me and be like, oh, she's gay.
Right.
When at the end of the day, I'm not. I just like being comfortable and maybe like a hair short, my hair short.
Right.
So that theory to me goes out the whole window.
It's funny that when you see a lot of this, the common thread of especially the trans woman is presenting in more feminine like stuff. So you are dressing in dresses and all of these things that you guys say isn't a woman, right? But that's how you present yourself. That's what makes you a woman. Putting on a dress or wearing heels or the wigs or the nails or the makeup, all of the things that we claim is not a woman, right? When he's going around asking what's a woman, even to the vaginoplasty, you're creating a vagina out of a
Exactly.
penis, which I'm actually going to stitch into into the thing, and it'll be graphic warning. I've actually watched this. I've watched how they do it, and it's a fucking crazy surgery.
Mm-hmm.
It is not just, oh, they just chop it off.
You
It
know what?
is
I seen her
crazy.
on that show Jazz,
Mm-hmm.
the transgender girl from when she was little
Mhm,
and she
mhm.
started. She did her surgery, and I seen her
Right,
show, and
right,
she had to redo her surgery like 3 times
right,
because it did not look like
right,
how a vagina was supposed to look.
right,
And
right,
it's like, how could you honestly say mentally that did not affect her, or even physically? Because
right.
then it goes back to that. Okay, now it looks like a vagina, but let's just be honest. It's not going to get wet like a vagina. It's
No,
not going to feel, you know what I mean? Let's just be
right,
honest. It
right,
can look the part, but it's not going to feel the
right.
part.
Well, there's a lot of things behind this surgery that I don't think people realize. That's why a lot of people were like he's talking about detransition, because one, you will forever have to dilate that hole, meaning you got to stick something like a
Hmm.
dildo up there
That's true.
constantly,
A
couple times a day,
tampon, they stick
something
a
to
tampon and keep
dilate.
it open. Hmm.
That's not a normal thing that a woman has to do. There are very slim women who have that issue where they don't dilate or something like that happens, and very small issue of women that go through that. Um, but it's not something that's just normal. We don't have to dilate our vaginas every
Hmm.
day. And the vagina is built, it secretes, it cleans itself. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
when sexual, it's going to get wet. Those are normal things that happen that you can't create. Science can't create that down there. It could make it look like it, but it's not, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like you're still creating what you say isn't a woman, right? Because we see this kind of thing of, well, assigned at birth, you're just being told you're a woman, but to be a trans woman, you need a vagina.
Right. Exactly.
Make it make sense.
So contradictive. So
Right.
contradictive.
And these
Everything
are
they
the
say is
doctors.
contradictive.
These are the doctors that sell this shit, though. You're contradicting yourself, but you're selling this shit. And my only problem with this is the children that have now gone through these surgeries. And we'll hear more about this going through it. But there's case by case. I've watched a documentary of another girl who, by the time she was 15, had a double mastectomy, which is something that you do normally with women with cancer. You know what I mean? That is something that happens. And we're doing this to children. We're doing this to teens.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like COVID happened and she started, I don't know if she took online classes or whatever. She ended up taking a child development class and realized in the class that she would never be able to breastfeed because she had had this surgery. And she actually started to regret and realize that she had made a mistake because she didn't fit in more with boys than before all of this shit that took in place. And she's actually suing Kaiser and all the doctors and shit behind it because it's a big thing. She's actually suing them and taking them to court because she's like, I don't want to be a boy, you know, none of this, you know, and now I'll never be able to have these things. She doesn't even know she can have kids because she was put on the testosterone and the puberty blockers and all of this stuff. So it's not nothing for adults. So I don't want anyone to take this away like we got a problem. I definitely don't got a problem with adults doing this. I still think you need to check your mental health, but I don't care. You're an adult. Do what you do. Just like if someone gets a BBL, I don't give a fuck if you get your breast done. I don't give a fuck if you get a facelift. I don't give a fuck.
But you know what? If I'm not mistaken, because I know someone who's transgender and they do receive SSI for mental health. So it's some way that they are connecting that to mental health. So a person cannot say it's not a mental health thing.
No, it is. When and look, your soul can be whatever, and you could go through the things, but there's mental issues of why you don't love things about you, why you don't feel like you're you. There's things that you just work through mentally. There's a lot of things. A lot of these people from kids are being pushed that if you like this color, you're a girl, or if you like this color, you're a boy. And it's like kids just fucking play. Let's let them play. They will grow out of that shit, you know. But it's like, oh my God, he picked up a Barbie. He must be fucking gay. Oh my God, she likes sports. She must be a boy. I was a tomboy. That didn't make me a fucking boy. I just like being out in the
They
dirt.
do that from birth. If you notice, they buy boys blue stuff, and it's like, oh, you're not supposed to put blue on a girl or pink on a boy, and that starts from people are so programmed to think that pink means girl and blue means boy. Who said that?
Nobody.
Like,